Hello, everyone. So, a little bit more about attitude this week. I'd like to share a few examples of people where attitude really was the difference maker. I've talked before about your attitude when you face adversity means that you may become bitter or you may become better. And John Maxwell talks about attitude turning our problems or our challenges into blessings, but it depends on our attitude. Um, in the book Awake My Heart, Sidlow Baxter wrote, "What is the difference between an obstacle and an opportunity?" So just think about that for a minute. The biggest difference is how we see it, our attitude toward it. Everything new that we approach or that we see, we can look at as if it's an obstacle or as if it's an opportunity. Every opportunity has difficulty in it, and every difficulty does have opportunity. A person with an outstanding attitude, a positive attitude, might consider that there's something good about it, and they're looking for the message. They're looking for the learning. Others, they're just trying to struggle through. So maybe think about a grindstone, and if it polishes you up or grinds you down, depends on what you're made of. People with a really good attitude prosper under adversity. Think about the last few months and the adversities we've all faced, and then look at the organizations or the companies that have prospered. They have prospered with the challenges, with the adversities, with the same circumstances in the outside world as have some other companies who have done less well. So let's look at it this way. If you've flown a kite, what happens if you try to fly a kite and there's no wind? Nothing. Kites need the wind to work. So when the wind of criticism blows, and it will, I encourage you to allow it to be to you what the blast of wind is to the kite, which is a force that lifts you higher. Let's look at a few people to see how their success was directly tied to their attitude. And I think you're going to recognize some of these people. So, number one, Albert Einstein. Despite being known as a true genius in his day, Albert didn't have a great start. As a kid, he didn't start to speak until he was 4 years old. His elementary school teacher considered him lazy. He kept on anyway. He eventually formulated the theory of relativity, which most of us still don't understand today. So for all you parents with children who are not meeting all of the standard criteria, consider maybe you're raising another Albert Einstein. Second one, Benjamin Franklin. One of our founding fathers had to drop out of school after his 10th birthday because his family couldn't finance his education. Didn't stop him. He went on to teach himself through reading and ended up inventing numerous things like the bifocals and the lightning rod. Thomas Edison. Now, Edison may hold the record for the most failed attempts before reaching success on a single project. We've all heard the story. He failed over 10,000 times before inventing a light bulb that worked. His response was, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." It's a little bit like how many no's have you received to your offer? The more no's you receive, the more successful you are. Because it's the activity of doing, the activity of continuing, that positive and motivational attitude that is inspirational when you are trying to achieve something. Number 4, Michael Jordan, who I think you'll all know. As a kid, he loved basketball. He knew he wanted to make a career out of it. No one would give him a chance. He was even cut from his high school varsity basketball team. He went on to become the greatest basketball player of all time. Fifth example, Walt Disney. He began his career by being fired by a newspaper because he was not creative enough. Later, his Mickey Mouse cartoons were rejected. They were deemed to be too scary for women. Now, if he'd listened to those critics and given up, the Disney company as we know it today would not exist. He believed in himself and he kept on going. So you can see these well-known individuals repeatedly faced problems or setbacks, but their consistent, positive attitude eventually allowed them to rise above the commonplace. What setbacks are you using to climb above, to rise above, and to discover that tremendous power within you? Have an awesome day.